Good morning, everyone. Give me just a moment. Don't have anything of great importance this morning, just have a couple lighters I need to package up to get mailed out, so I thought I'd hop on and see who might be available to chat. And I don't see the normal interface that I've had before to choose live chat, so let me know if you're in the chat. Say hello, give a wave. Let me know that you can hear me. And as you guys join in, let me know what you've been up to. I've been really busy lately with a couple of my grandkids and replacing the brakes on my Jeep and about 1,000 other small things that had to be taken care of. So hadn't had a full, or I should say long form video on a daily basis in a couple of weeks now. I have been able to keep up with the shorts, but hopefully we'll be able to maybe even record some more videos later today. Hoping to get the Christmas tree up. It's December 10th, so I guess it's alright to leave it up until January 1 at least, once you've got it up, but Christmas is just a couple weeks away. Hello, Coffee Junkie. Glad to have you with us. Are you a lighter enthusiast, Coffee Junkie? I used to call these live streams Coffee and Lighters Live, but I haven't had a cup of decaf even now, and well, probably since the last live stream I did, which I think it said was about 6 months ago. Cool. What appreciate you subscribing. What brought you to the channel in the first place? Recently started collecting? Awesome. What are your favorite lighters? You got any that you've really hooked onto yet, or you just still kind of feeling your way through? Seems like most people come to the hobby through Zippo. That's exactly how I came to it. But of course, after you get here, then you realize there are 1,000 different brands, million different variations, and all kinds of themes and different ways that one can form a collection. So it really is a fantastic hobby. Gives you the ability to keep your hands busy repairing something, but then also making something look aesthetically pleasing. Whether that means that it's shining or not, that depends on your own personal taste, and that's another thing. I've got a few Zippos, but I really like the flat ad lighters. The flat ad lighters are cool. I really like the way that I don't know that that's engraving. However, those brass advertising lighters, those images are formed on them and then filled in with paint. Really cool. Trying to think. I don't know if I've got a bunch of lighters sitting right here beside me in preparation for us to. Give me a moment here, and I'll be back here with you. Yeah, Barlow and Continental are great brands. Great. Now, Continental pretty much was a Japanese brand. Barlow, I'm trying to think. I think maybe Barlow was an American company, but most of the products were made in Japan. There are a few like that. Crestcraft was like that, where sometimes they sourced from a U.S. manufacturer like Park Industries. Other times it was from Japanese manufacturers. Give me a moment. I'm going to get a table so I can spread out some of these lighters, and hopefully, I don't have a flat ad lighter, but I might have something that would help illustrate. But I know I'm going to want to talk about some of these lighters because I'm trying to decide what I should immediately try to sell. Excuse me, had a bit of a cough there. Anyway, I'm going to go grab a table real quick. I'll be right back. While I'm cleaning off this table, if you guys see anything or hear anything weird or off, let me know. I can't remember exactly the setup. I think it's the same way I was hooking the microphone up before through these live streams. We almost had a vertical live stream on accident, so you'd have been seeing everything sideways, but got that fixed right before, I don't know, about 3 minutes before the thing started. Coffee Junkie, where are you located? Where are you from? Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. As a matter of fact, let me grab my iPad here. Because what I was trying, I don't have this item anymore, but it's one of the reasons that I've set my website up the way that I have, so that this kind of stuff will be easy to find. Let me get on the website and then I'll get it out in front of the camera. St. Louis area, cool, so we're not too far apart. I'm in Oklahoma City, specifically Deep Deuce of Oklahoma City as we speak. Pretty cold here today. But the old advertising, that's what I love about those flat ad lighters, like the States series lighters. I'm sure you're familiar with the State series lighters. Those are done in the same way with the brass background that then is filled in with paint. But I sold this. This is the website here, DependableFlame.com, and you go to the link there, and I archive all my listings over here, and they're not in alphabetical order. I haven't figured out a way to do that. So it's a little bit clunky perhaps in that regard, but you can also always go over here to the search. If you know I believe this was Guthrie, Oklahoma. Let's see if this even works. I'm not sure if I've got that in the... No, it's not going to work because of the way I have it. And it doesn't have a brand name. So in this particular one, I just have to look for it. And I have it under other useful mechanisms, I believe. Which that I have is the icon for that. Or maybe that's the wrong word. Anyway, what you click on for the other useful mechanisms, that is a sterling silver eye. Really cool. Anyway, this is a knife. This is the kind of thing when I'm walking through antique stores, vendor malls, kind of places you find lighters. This is the kind of thing that when I see it really gets me excited. So I understand what you're saying when you say that you know, what did you say, vintage advertising and that kind of brought you to lighters. Yeah. To me, that's just cool. And to find something like that, I paid $5 for this in a local vendor mall, antique mall, whatever you call it, kind of place where they have booths that people rent. And I paid $5 for it. It had been marked down for 10, from 10. I don't know how they, how long they had it, but I knew that there would be somebody who was willing to pay way more than that for it. And sure enough, I kept it in my store for maybe 2 or 3 months. I think I had it listed for about $70 and sold it for $55 or $60. And in really great shape for the, you know, for how old it was. Knife, money clip, file, fingernail file, that kind of thing. Anyway, but those, a lot of those flat advertising lighters have graphics that are on the lighter the same way. That kind of paint detail. Yeah, I love any, I can't remember, I've owned a few, but I see them all the time, of just different buildings, kind of like that one was a bank building. But, you know, just a certain building in this particular state that, let me reorient myself here. But a building in a certain state that to people who grew up in that area or still live in that area or familiar with it, it's always really cool to me here living in downtown Oklahoma City, or Deep Deuce, just east of downtown Oklahoma City, seeing postcards and any advertisements for buildings or businesses that were in buildings that are still in existence. Some of the bigger buildings that they had downtown, the Biltmore Hotel, they demolished, I think back in the late 70s. And there were some others that they demolished, but like they've recently redone the First National Center, and there are plenty of historical things around here. So it's always cool to see those advertisements and be able to see the way it is today. Yeah, I don't know that there's a specific way to date them. I don't know that anybody has ever, you know, there aren't any codes like you might have, or like you do have on a Zippo, and perhaps on some other lighters. You can, you know, like with, I don't even know, like if Park Industries, you've got different bottom stamps. Even like, let's take this Life Lighter for instance. This Life Lighter is marked Life Lighter, St. Louis, USA. Well, I know that I've also owned one that was marked Right Point Life Lighter. So it actually said Right Point and Life Lighter. Excuse me, I'm getting over something and I keep having to cough. Anyway, so I know that I've had one that was marked Right Point Life Lighter on the bottom also. What I can't tell you is which one of those came first. I suppose that you probably could determine which one of those was older if you knew enough about the advertisements that were on different examples, but I don't have that kind of information. I've never, you know, gone that far down the hole trying to date one of these lighters. But same way with Park, you've got different versions of the bottom stamp that if you have enough old literature or know enough about particular models or the advertisements or certain things about them, that you could probably figure some rough ranges out anyway. But with most Japanese made lighters, take this Rogers Rocket Flame for example, it's not even marked fully. This is the second one of these, at least the second one that I've had. And the other one was marked Rogers Rocket Flame. I think it even had a graphic of a rocket on it. But I know that I had one marked Rogers Rocket Flame. And this one just says Rogers, like it's just plain old petrol lighter. So, Biltmore Hotel in St. Louis. There are Biltmore hotels all over the place, aren't there? Coffee Junkie. Hello, go. Glad to have you with us this morning. It's an off-topic question, but do you know any good ways to brush up on lighter history? I'd like to learn more about the evolution of the tech and advertising of lighters, but I can't find anything. Well, that's not off-topic, first of all. You can... we're here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, specifically lighters, but you know, you want to bring up some other topic, bring it up. But yeah, no, that's a great question. You know, there are people, there's a guy named Larry Tolkien, Larry Lighter on Facebook, Instagram, most of the social media outlets. I don't believe he has a YouTube presence. But he is very knowledgeable, very opinionated as well. There's a guy named Tom O'Key. He is very active in a group called Vintage Lighters and Matches. That's a Facebook group. So there's one place you could start, Vintage Lighters and Matches. I believe the two admins for that group are a guy named Carl McMullen and Tom O'Key. And I've watched some YouTube videos from several years ago at an OTLS convention of Tom O'Key giving some demonstrations of some older lighters. He is probably the historian on pre-Flint stuff. But, you know, like most people, most serious lighter collectors are interested in stuff up through when butane got involved. You know, up until the mid 1950s. Most people that collect old lighters are going to be interested in petrol lighters up through the early 1950s, at least. And, you know, there are still some great lighters. There were park lighters being made all the way up into the 1970s, Scripto View. The Penguin Cygnus lighters were made in the 60s still. So there were a lot of great lighters that were made. I may have, your question was lighter history. Yeah, so, you know, there's lighters that were lit by certain gases. They look more like lamps than they do what we might think of as a lighter. Hello, Professor. Glad to have you with us. Vijami Siponen. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but I'm glad to have you with us as well. Seen several of your YouTube videos, I believe, Professor, lately. I'm trying to remember specifically. Man, that last one had a lot of views. But I also saw some of your, or I've encountered you on YouTube, or not YouTube, maybe Instagram. I'm not really highly active on any of them, or haven't been for the last few weeks, but at least somewhat aware. I've published a video or two to YouTube or TikTok and Instagram. Haven't published much over to Facebook. I probably need to be better about that. It is evening in Finland. Well, that is good to know. So what are your activities? What are you doing as you are sitting here joining us in the lighter room discussing old lighters? You have a drink? Have you had your evening meal yet? Is it getting close to bedtime? When I think of Finland, I think of a very cold country. Is that true, or am I making some assumptions that I shouldn't. Let me go back up here. Okay, so you said the Biltmore in LA. Okay, yeah. I think there's probably a Biltmore in St. Louis. I know that there's another one now in Oklahoma City, but it's it's kind of a hotel that you hear about a murder happening at least every other year or so, or a body being found. Yeah, there are definitely books for. I've got the Zippo book, the David Poor book. Trying to remember what other. I got a couple other books in there too, but I haven't. I haven't gone too far down that road. I haven't gotten too bored yet with what I can find online, and I never hit too many dead ends that if I ever got to the point to where I wasn't moving forward or enjoying what I was doing, then yeah, I'll probably focus on some books. Yeah, it's been a while, Professor. I need to package up. I've got this utility. Wonder if this still has fuel in it. It's utility aluminum block petrol lighter that was probably 10 days or so ago that I fueled that up and made that video. But I am going to give this. I've already contacted our friend of the channel. I've got a couple other lighters over here to the side. This one, I can't remember who, but somebody suggested at one point that I should do a contest. And I'm interested in doing that, but YouTube requires that you create a set of rules. So 2 questions about this lighter are, number one, if the person is present in the live stream that suggested that we give this away, please remind me who you were, because I want to give you credit. But secondly, what would be good rules for the YouTube stream? What would be, it doesn't need to be some great requirement. I guess we could make something where you just needed to comment on the stream or wave or do something, and then I put all those names in a hat. Yeah, I don't know what I'm not trying to, get involved in anything to where, I see people putting things like you got to like and share the post and all this kind of stuff. I don't even know that you can keep track of that. Not only that, but I'm not trying to make people jump through hoops. I just wanted you to, so maybe we'll figure out something like that, where you can just post on the stream. You guys tell me what you think about this, if you got any ideas. And then everybody's name, I could just from that write everybody's name on a piece of paper to draw from, and then that person I contact. I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do I verify that the person that would comment on the stream was the same person that would be contacting me saying I drew their name? How's a good way to do that? Okay, let me look back here. You talking about finding a couple of lighter books on eBay, Coffee Junkie? eBay's a great place for lighters and everything. It's really a great place for everything that's old, things that you are interested in. It almost makes it feel like it's just not even worth your time to go out and look at garage sales, vintage markets, that kind of place. I can go back and I can think of a handful of good buys that I've made at those places, but never anything extraordinary. And the vast majority of the time, you walk out empty-handed. Doesn't seem like that big a deal when you get on eBay and you search hundreds or thousands of listings and walk away empty-handed because you did something. You really look through a lot to get where you did. And not only that, but your success rate is a lot more, you know, if you're willing to look, because there's just so many more, you know, viable options for you to buy that are available. Honeycomb cereal with blueberries. Yeah. We've talked about my carb and sugar intake, so you can imagine I don't eat. I kind of eat some, seems like cereal to me, nut granola with Greek yogurt. So that's all right. But my grandkids, they have some cereal. Not in the stages with milk and cereal, eating it out of a bowl yet, but as a snack. Vijami's message there says it was retracted. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm not sure that I recall seeing that before. Here we go. The Regions squeeze lighter. Yes, I think I've probably got some videos with Regions. I'm almost certain I do. Maybe even repair videos. You say Go says that the Regions lighter is his dream lighter, but he wants to learn how to restore lighters by doing a few before he gets it. Yeah, the Regions a little bit different. It's with the squeeze and the way it's all. I think it's one of those that is just riveted together. It doesn't really have screws. I'd have to look at it and see. That class of lighter, the 1954 lighter repair manual said was not, because of them being riveted, that they weren't really, what's the word, a candidate to be repaired, because it was just cheaper to buy a new one. Well, that's not really the case anymore, because if you've got a Regions lighter in your hand, you can't just go buy a new one. You can buy a new one, perhaps, a new old stock one that's going to cost you way more than a possible repair. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a Regions here on me right now. The last I remember, I think I had about 6 or 8 of them that I sold in a group a couple of years ago. So I'd have to go back and even look at the pictures to verify that that's one that doesn't have screws and is riveted. But that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, if it's got flint degraded in the tube, there's still some ways that you can get it out even if you can't take it apart. And you may even be able to disassemble part of it to clear that. But yeah, I haven't had a Regions taken apart. I've taken a lot of lighters apart, put them back together, but I hadn't gotten to the point yet that I've done them all. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. For $3, even if it doesn't have any advertisement, if there's nothing cool about it, you know, a working lighter's worth $3. Yeah, Professor, you got a really good point there. He says from what he's experienced, buying online is easier to find what you're looking for, but it's pricier. Finding in the wild is cheaper, but less likely to find what you're looking for. Yes, absolutely. I agree. You know, I've found 2 Penguin Cygnus lighters, which some of you guys here today are at least new to the stream. trying to remember. I think this may have been the first one that I found in the wild. It wasn't the first I had. I'd owned a few that I sold, or one that I sold and one that I traded. I robbed the gasket off of that for another lighter. But this lighter I found at a place called Wham out here in, well, it's not really the southeast or southwest part of the city. It's right in the middle, right along I-35, about 89th Street. A typical vintage vendor mall kind of place, and they had those carousel things, you know, that have a little button up here that you press and they'll rotate up, or press this button and it all rotates down. This was in one of those. And I think I paid $12 for it. No, it may have been $8. I think I paid $8, but then they charged me an extra dollar because I was paying with a credit card. So that was the first one that I found in the wild. Not online. Then the other one was one that is currently listed for sale at DependableFlame.com/current eBay listings. The short version with advertising for Southern Motors Inc. I found that at a place called, well, I'm not going to mention the name of it. I don't like the name of it. I understand that people like to be clever, but they've named their antique store after a name that is in the Bible as a name of God, a name of the Creator, the Almighty. I don't think that's an appropriate use of that name. So I'm not going to say it, but it's out at 10th and May here in Oklahoma City. And there's a guy out there that has a whole lot of Tobacco-ana, ashtrays, lighters in his booth. And it's only been there for about a year or so at the most. It hadn't been there very long. That particular store has been there for a long time, but that booth hadn't been there. Anyway, I got that Southern Motors Inc. there for $10. Always glad to find those. So yeah, definitely you do find them cheaper typically when you do find them in the wild. But the possibility of you finding that exact niche that you collect out in the wild is way less likely than you finding it online. So very good point, Professor. I really love that you guys are trading book, what's the word? Recommending books to each other in the comments. That's awesome. And I don't have that handbook of vintage lighters by Stuart Schneider that you mentioned, Coffee Junkie, but I recognize the name. I've definitely seen that over the years in different Facebook groups. I think the Facebook groups are really cool for any kind of hobby, especially it seems like for the vintage lighter hobby. Are all of you guys active, or any of you guys active in any of the Facebook lighter groups? I'm not sure that I have heard of that next one that you mentioned with by James Flanagan. It's so funny you mentioned the Discord, Professor. So you're not in any Facebook groups, Professor? That seems crazy. Are you on Facebook? Well, Coffee, man, if you guys are on Facebook, you should be in the Facebook groups. I mean, I think I'm literally in hundreds of pages that are related to the vintage lighter hobby. There's pages for a bunch of specific different brands. I've got a page for DependableFlame.com. I've got a page and a group So the groups, though, are really cool that you can share things in there, post pictures, people can answer questions, and yeah, it's really, there's some that are more geared around selling. I don't have a problem with people selling in my group, in the Dependable Flame group, but I do have a problem with somebody who just shows up and it appears as though that's all they're there to do. Then I'm thinking maybe you're there to scam people or something. So keep that in mind. If you do plan on selling, make yourself useful. Make yourself known in the group before you just start trying to sell to people. But some groups, like the Deal or No Deal groups, those are really cool. A lot of cool lighters that even if you don't buy, you get to see the lighters. So, hello, old Henningsen. Glad to have you with us. Been a long time, my friend. We got a few of our old faithfuls here and a few new people, so hopefully we can all enjoy the conversation. Recommending books, talking about Facebook groups. Well, I'm on Facebook, me personally, Joe. But I've got a page or profile for DependableFlame.com. But then, like I said, I've also got the DependableFlame.com Facebook group. And man, you guys, if you enjoy old lighters, Old Harp Henningsen is one of our stars on DependableFlame.com. He has posted so many lighters from his collection, so many pictures and groups of different lighters. I'm very appreciative for him, and definitely has carried our page at times in the way that he has been faithful to post. And I love seeing all that stuff. That's what those groups are for. So, man, you guys go and join those Facebook groups, specifically DependableFlame.com, the page and the group. But there's others as well. The OTLS has one. I'm not officially a member of the club anymore, but I'm still a member of that Facebook group, and I follow their page. I mentioned earlier the one that Carl McMullen and Tom O'Key are the admins in. I believe that one is called Vintage Lighters and Matches. But there are others. There's a Thorns group. There's Zippo groups. There's dozens of Zippo groups easily. But you've got, repair groups. There's advertising groups. Like I said, it's to me, it really sort of enhances your what's the word I'm looking for? The activity that you have in the community, that you have in the hobby. It really enhances all of that to be a member of those groups, because you see more of what you're all interested in. You can have discussions with people that maybe you see on YouTube, maybe you see in the comment section here or there, but I don't know, it's just a different way of communicating with people, a little bit more intimate setting of communicating than on YouTube, where the video may be hundreds, or it's just a different way of communicating, different levels of exposure and different levels of intimacy with each other as well. I mean, I try to keep up with the comments on YouTube as best I can, but it is very difficult. I try at the very least to give a thumbs up and a heart to every comment, but it's hard to even keep up with that sometimes. Where on Facebook, it's a little bit easier to keep up. It's a little bit more personal. And not only that, but it seems like you see there's plenty of times on YouTube where, for whatever reason, it's like YouTube didn't allow me to see a comment until it was no longer relevant, or not as relevant as it was when the person made it. So yeah, for me personally, You know, there's a lot of good information out there. The Toledo Bend VCL website is a good one. I think, and this is really sad, and I don't think we've done a live stream since then, but the last that I checked, and I can't remember now who even brought it up, but apparently the Passionate Wick site is down, which it's something that I've thought a lot about, because it's something that's going to happen to all of us at some point. All of us that have a website like that, if you don't figure out a way to keep your hosting paid, if you know, if you pass and you don't have that somehow figure a way for that site to be kept up in perpetuity. My site renews every year in March. So if I were to pass sometime between now and March, unless one of my family members thought well enough about it to get a different payment method on there, my website would probably expire that next March, whatever year it would be that I passed. So I hope to have something in place to have that hosted in perpetuity, but I don't know how even realistic that is. I don't know. I don't have it's probably something I need to look into. I don't think I even have a valid will. It's been so long ago that we did a will. This slider is, this was a gift from our buddy Gavin Lannon. It's got a newer insert in it, and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was a repaired hinge. And I can't remember now where he said he found it, but he deciphered from an email that I had left on the screen of a part of, I had edited in me looking at a video, or looking at an email, and it showed the auto search where I was entering the email. So he deciphered my middle name from that and realized he had this lighter. And that's not the last gift that Gavin has sent us. He sent me personal gifts and also gifts to the channel. But this one is definitely part of my personal collection, one that I use on a regular basis. I don't light up much anymore, so it's not fueled. It's extremely rare these days that I even light up or actually smoke something, so I'll keep the Zippo fueled for as long as it stays fueled after I need it, but I don't keep one fueled all the time. I am the majority of the time using a torch, because rather than actually smoking, I'm dabbing live rosin. So still really surprised with the Jeep. This lighter cost me $5 at a Walmart in Galveston, Texas, back in, is that early October? But this lighter will light until all the fuel is gone. I mean all of it. So it uses it all, and it lasts a really long time. It's a really stiff ignition, so that's negative. And you know, there's been more than one occasion where I wake up the next morning and I couldn't think of anything else difficult I'd done with my hand other than using this lighter, and my hand had stiffened up with the carpal tunnel and those sort of problems, which is, it's something I deal with all the time anyway. It's just typically worse in my left hand. So, but when you're having to hold a straw in one hand and then the lighter too. So in that case, then I end up using the big propane torch more, which the last time I did a video on the pocket lighters that I use for dabs, somebody mentioned that propane's better, and I agree. Propane it's better. Well, I shouldn't say I agree. It's better in some cases. It's better in the sense that your fuel doesn't run out as often. But that's not really an issue with this one. It is better in that the propane torch that I have, it's really easy. It's not hard to light, where this is. But where it's a problem is that it's a huge propane torch that way overheats the tip of my straw, where that torch flame right there will heat up the straw to the exact temperature that I can just go ahead and hit it, and I'm not going to burn my throat. So saying that propane is the best, that's just not it. There are some variables at play depending on, you know, how you are heating up your implement, how quick you want to be able to hit it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hope things are well with you, old Henningsen. I've just been busy, haven't been able to keep up with keeping as many full-length videos up, posted as I would like to, but just wanted to check in with everybody here. Got a couple that I'm going to mail or package up to mail. This is the other one, which somebody got a hold of me. Another good friend of our channel got a hold of me. It's been several months ago now when I first made the video for this, and he said he would be interested in that for a family member. So I've got it. The insert was just falling out of it when I first got it. Very clean, and it would just fall out. So you can see the protrusion a little bit on that side and that side. I just took a pair of needle nose pliers and placed them inside and then widened them out. And now it fits a little tighter. So I got that and the wood-handled utility lighter that I'm getting ready to package up and give away. The Thorns is a lighter that I promised to our buddy Jay Sales, and I haven't even fueled this lighter in months now. I'm not even sure if it has. Does it have a flint in there? Wasn't much of a spark there. It has at times seemed very reliable, and at other times didn't seem like it wanted to light at all. So I had one more project I wanted to do with it, and from watching Jay's posts in the DependableFlame group and also in the Vintage Lighters and Matches group, it looks like he's getting pretty efficient at fixing old lighters himself. So at some point I may give up and just send this lighter to Jay and let him take it apart and do what he wants with it. So this is another lighter that is going to be given away. But I have one more thing I wanted to try, at least one more thing. So if you're watching, Jay, it hadn't been fueled. Not sure what flint is in there, but this lighter definitely needs some more attention. But those Thorns lighters are really cool and some of my favorite. Oh, and that's the other thing, is I want to cut out a felt pad for it. So I think purple would be really cool. I also think yellow might be cool. Red, like I did on that park lighter, that might be cool. But since I'm going to be sending this one to Jay, before I do that, I will. Jay, if you're watching, let me know what color you would like the felt pad to be. I've got several colors, but if I don't have what color you want, I'll go find it. Anyway, those two, putting a felt pad on it, and I want to see about cleaning that wheel and see if we can get a better spark. But there were definitely times where that seemed like a reliable lighter. When I very first got it, it lit up pretty well. Hey Terry, glad to have you with us. Zippo Lion's Den. Thank you. Yeah, that's another one that I found. Careful here. I'm about to lose my set off the top of the bar here. This is a lighter that I found at another local place, and they had it listed just as parts. And when I took it apart, the wheel was backward. So, got the wheel in there the right way, and it was working great. And then it seemed like once we started changing the wick and that sort of thing, things went to where it just weren't getting the same function out of it. I don't even remember the specifics now. Hello, Naphtha. Glad to have you with us. Long time, my friend. How are things treating you in Tulsa? I like, though, Zippo Lion's Den, I like how they put these Thorns table lighters on so many different bases. You know, you can find several different versions of these stone type bases, but then there were wood, there were sculpture, statue type stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit chillier here today too, so I don't doubt it. I walked down to the coffee shop this morning, and I should have dressed a little bit warmer than I did. So when it was a little bit chillier walk getting back here than what I'd really counted on. O. Henningsen says that he's ordered a China Thorn single claw and a. So are you talking about the new manufacturer, but official Thorn's name? Is that what you've ordered? Olarp. And the Calibri Kickstart, is that the same new manufacturer? Okay, so a copy. So is this one that's is it labeled Torrent or something like that? I've seen some of those on eBay, maybe even on Amazon. Both copies, okay. Yeah, you know, I've got a lighter that I bought. I think I bought it off of eBay. I didn't pay much for it. I was just kind of curious at the time. I wasn't willing to buy one from the, I can't even remember now. I don't think, maybe you could buy them on eBay. This was back around 2017 or so. But this one was marked Chief, and it was a kickstart mechanism. And yeah, it's a really cool lighter. What I don't have a problem with any of that, you know, even the mechanisms, I guess. Hello, Eastwa. Glad to have you join us this morning. He says, hey, Joe, long time no see. Can't stay for long, unfortunately, but glad to see you live. Yeah, I'm just trying to do a few things. I thought I'd hop on and see who might be available to say hello. You guys, if you are not following Eastwa Doom Flam on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and everywhere else that he's posting videos, you need to. Man, that video that you posted on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, it was the squeeze mechanism. The way that you transitioned from each of those movements of that lighter was brilliant. It was a lovely video to watch. But glad you joined us. I know you're busy as well, so. Yeah, it's one we've talked about on here before, and it's one that I've already promised to our buddy Jay Sales. I've done a few different repair videos on, but need to fuel it back up and tinker with it some more. I've got a couple more projects, including putting a felt pad on it. So I put it out here today because I got a couple other lighters back there that I'm sending to friends of the channel. Those are the two that I'm going to package up. So I wanted to have this one out there so that if Jay tuned in, he would know that I have not forgotten that he wants that lighter. Hello, Alice. Glad to have you with us. You know, the thorns are always lovely to look at, and even more so to watch them function. Simply because it really does give you the feel. You know, I just, over the course of the last 5 or 6 days, I did it on, I guess, Friday and then yesterday, so about 4 days, I was replacing the brakes on my on my Jeep, and it's really an amazing mechanism on that to watch how those brakes ride on that rotor and work with your wheel, the tire, the whole system there, but how really loose it all fits together. It's amazing, and that's similar when you start looking at these kind of lighters. But the thorns for sure are fantastic pieces of machinery, well made, and you know, fun to tinker with as well. But this one has, I don't know, there may be a flaw there, a break, but I think once we get the pad replaced, probably not, well, definitely not perfect cosmetically. It's got scratches and scuffs and all that, but you know, presentable enough that if you can get it working, which, like I said, at one point it was working just fine. Doesn't even appear to be sparking right at the moment, but they're always fun lighters to have around. Oh, well, I guarantee you, just look at the number of people that watch your videos, man. People enjoy it for sure. I think that's one thing about lighters, you know, it really just seems to kind of be an endless trove of lighters to discover. I know it's not. That makes me think about heaven, and we talk about discovering God's glory for all of eternity and never reaching the end of it. God's magnificence being what it is, that we will never reach the end of that for all eternity. I know that's not the case with lighters. I know that there is an end. There is a finite number of lighters that have been manufactured over time, but it is an incredible number of lighters that have been manufactured from, you know, like we were talking about, somebody was asking a while ago about the history, and I was talking about Tom O'Key and, you know, pre-flint lighters and all that, and that's, you know, that's something that you can dive into. And, you know, I've just kind of got a casual observance of that from what I've seen posted on Facebook, or maybe some old OTLS newsletters and things like that. But if you just think about flint sparked petrol fueled lighters, I think it may be impossible for somebody in their lifetime to literally, excuse me, to literally catalog every one of them. I don't know that a person could do it. There's even the lighters you find, there's so much unknown information, and you do a great job about that also, Iswa. The patents and all the stuff that you bring into each individual video is pretty incredible, but you know, there's some of them that you just can't find the information. Awesome. So today's video you're publishing is of thorns. That's cool. Can never see enough thorns, man. Yeah, that's another issue. It's one issue about them making the newer copies, as people are concerned about those parts making their way over onto newer lighters, or older lighters, I mean. But then other people make those springs or different replacement parts as well. I guess it's, there's definitely some gray areas that we can get into, but there's some positives and negatives about some of these. It's not always just clearly black and white. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, Eastwire. Are you familiar with Tom O'Key and some of the stuff that he posts of pre-flint stuff? A lot of things that look more like lamps than lighters. So, yeah, that is what we're doing today. I'm also, other than packaging up these two lighters to mail here this week, is I've been listing more lighters out of my personal collection to sell. And, there's some that are just non-negotiable for me. It's just some of these Cygnus right at the moment, I just can't see myself parting with. Especially these vibrant colored anodized aluminum. This Mount Fuji, it's not perfect. It's lost some paint here and there. But I can't see myself parting with that one either. But for the right price tag, I'd probably sell not any of them. There's plenty of these in here. Find a few that I can show you. Definitely these two table lighters. There's our buddy Bill Calkins that gave me the one with the bear. Our buddy Friedrich Deal, who gave me the advertiser for Simmons Services Station Supply Company. And then I've got a table version in here that was from our buddy Sean in England. There's the base for it. I'll come across the lighter here in a minute. But there's a couple others here that were not gifts and lighters that I bought and added to the collection myself, but that I probably would part with for the right offer. Including this, I don't know, can't remember, was it 6 inches tall? Anyway, a very long, tall aluminum block lighter. And then I believe probably the rarest of all Cygnus lighters, the pipe lighter. These are both lighters that I'm happy to keep. Well, I shouldn't say both. I'd say the same thing about all those anodized colors. What else I got here? There it is. If Sean happens to join us, that one is a permanent part of the collection. That Sean gave me a couple of years ago. And I love that one. I'm glad to have that. I consider all three of those table lighters. I just consider that one a convertible table lighter. Old Henningsen says he's got to go. Glad you joined us today, sir. Glad to visit with you anytime. Alice asked about pre-flint lighters. Do you have one to show? Actually, I do not have. I have to think about this. I don't think I have anything. I'm not. A striker would be the most primitive thing I've got here right now, I think. Alice. Yeah, those anodized colors are really cool. And not only that, but then the enameled colors. I've got a couple of automatic versions over here. Got some other short ones. So these are all lighters that at the current moment I have not been able to bring myself to part with. Here's one that is marked Prince with a different patent number, but it's identical. And Eastwa mentioned that he had seen the same pipe lighter with Benlow. Is it Benlow or Benlow Goldman? I know I saw the comment. I just didn't see. I didn't read the whole thing at that moment. Benlow, yeah, with Benlow marked. Yeah, I've also seen the same thing. The Rogers pipe lighter is the same, but without the Cygnus flint tension mechanism. Did the Benlow that you saw, Eastwall, did it have the Cygnus mechanism? Trying to remember. I think the Rogers, which I think I've got. Let's see if I can pull up pictures of that Rogers. If I'd started archiving everything on my website at that point, that may have been, I may have sold that before. No, there it is. So the Rogers just has the flint screw. Just has the flint screw rather than the Cygnus type mechanism with the thumb roller. But yeah, they're all very similar lighters. Really cool. Was Eastwall, you said that there is a video on your channel of a pre-flint model. What's the fuel for that? Is that some kind of a gas reaction or something? I'm pretty ignorant about. I know that the catalytic lighters, they didn't actually, I don't think, produce a flame. And there may have been one of the catalytic lighters that you actually sucked through, I think. I've never gone through and gathered up the ethanol or whatever you would need to. I've had a few catalytic lighters, but I've never tried to get one to work. But I think that's all cool. Somebody earlier was asking about the Regions lighter. I think it's very interesting that the Regions was when the first time that I went up to Guthrie to the National Lighter Museum and talked to Ted Ballard. Hello, Azrael. Glad to have you join us. Long time no talk, no see, no hear. How are things in Indonesia? But Ted Ballard told me that he started collecting lighters, and the last time I saw Ted was a year and a half or 2 years ago. And he was still alive and kicking. And I believe he was 89 years old. So I'm not sure exactly how old he would be now, but he's getting up there. But he started collecting lighters, I believe he told me, when his uncle came home from World War II and brought 3 lighters with him. 2 of them, I think it was one Zippo. Wait a minute. Maybe it wasn't a Zippo, but it was definitely 2 Regions lighters. It was the Regions lighter that stood out to me in that comment, because when he told me that, because I was familiar with them, but it just seemed funny to me that that was the lighter that had hooked this guy who had built a whole museum around lighters. So just got a new president, huh? Yeah, man, there's all kinds of things going on all around the world. I guess Syria just got rid of a dictator, and I sure hope that they can have some stability. I hope we can have some stability here too. I'm going to be hopeful. Oh yeah, Alice, there's a lot of pipe lighters other than Nimrods. As a matter of fact, let me go get some petrol and I'll fuel up this Rogers Rocket Flame. Okay, regular lighter fluid, just a different spark. It uses a morche or percussion caps. Okay. Yeah. So is it like a ring of them, or a like we used to use those as kids in toy guns? Toy pistols would have, what do you call those? Those caps. And they would make them that had a ring, and I've seen lighters that have a similar, like the, oh man, I can't remember the name of it, that very famous one, something magic lamp. It's got like a disc inside of it, but then you got the other ones where it's on a roll. Anyway, I need to get all these Cygnus. My point about getting all these Cygnus out, though, was that these are all lighters that are, at this current time, still part of my personal collection. Those 3 right there always will be. But any of these other lighters could be pried out of my hands for the right price. But at the current time, I really am still really glad to have these. So I'm not in any hurry to sell any of them. We'll have to see. But I've definitely sold a few Penguin Cygnus lighters lately that at one point I probably wouldn't have thought I would, but I've sold 4 or 5 really nice ones, and they brought good prices. I'm glad that I was able to pass them on to somebody else and for a decent price. You know, I've talked a lot about how I entered this hobby, and I am a collector now to a certain extent, but I'm certainly not wealthy and don't have endless means to purchase lighters. So, you know, I love buying them in big groups, lots for cheap, and finding gems in there that were unidentified. You know, maybe you only get 1 or 2 pictures of a whole group of lighters, and if you can identify a thing or two or recognize a thing or two, then sometimes you can really make good buys. It's getting harder and harder to do that. It seems like I used to be able to do it pretty easy. But I think maybe that was just because I had more money to spend. Here lately I don't have the money. But yeah, love finding these old lighters, and I love handling them. And I wish I could keep them all, but that's never been the case with me and lighters. I was a seller first. I will never not be a seller, but I am glad to collect the ones that I am able to keep. That's why it's so cool when you get a lighter like this that is sent as a gift from somebody else that is such a personal touch to it. Or any of these others as well. Like I said, there's been plenty of lighters that we have received as gifts, and I cherish those, and I'm glad to keep those as part of the personal collection. I'm gonna go grab that fuel and see if we can demonstrate the function of this thing without overfilling it. You guys know that I'm definitely no stranger to overfilling lighters. That's why I have resorted to the dropper bottle. So we've got a discussion about the caps there in the comments. What do you mean by a pack, Azrael? See, I can rarely find old lighters in a, you mean like in a group? Like you're just picking them up a single at a time? You know, occasionally when I go to a local vendor mall or someplace like that, I'll find multiple lighters. All depends. But yeah, I've bought way more lighters online than I bought in person. I mean, it's not even close. One thing about fueling up one of these petrol jet lighters is that if you overfill it and give it vapor lock, you're really going to inhibit that jet from being able to produce the kind of, I don't know if it's the pressure, I don't know what the mechanics in it are, but throw the whole thing out of whack where you're really going to have to let it settle before the lighter will function as it needs to, or as it should. So we'll leave that shut for a second, let vapors accumulate, and then we'll see. So the sellers that you are you talking about like eBay or like garage sale, flea market, vendor mall kind of places? They know what they got though, huh? Okay, so we'll go ahead and give it a little bit more. You know, there's plenty of places around here. There's plenty of places online, plenty of lighters that you see, and the second you see the price, you think, well, that's way overpriced. You know, immediately prices me out or even takes my interest away. I wouldn't pay that much money if I had it. But there's also the possibility of you making them an offer and, you know, who knows if that lighter's been for sale on that online market for a long time, then maybe they're willing to accept something that, you know, I got some things listed pretty high in my store that, or one thing in particular I can think of that, it's not that I think it's worth that necessarily, I just don't know exactly what it's worth, and I know it's not worthless, so I priced it high and I'll accept offers. And I haven't accepted, I'm trying to think, I don't think I've received any offers on that particular item yet. But all it takes is that one person. And I've had items like that before. I had an ashtray that I had listed for a couple $100 for a couple of years. And then out of the blue, I got a message one day, a person telling me that they were, well, first the lighter sold, and then the person sent the message saying, identifying, telling me who they were, and they were actually worked for a museum, and I can't remember what that particular, it was a military division or some, I'm kind of ignorant of that kind of stuff. I wasn't in the military myself. So, see, it just doesn't quite have the pressure yet to make that jet work. So anyway, this person though sent me a message on eBay telling me who they were. They worked for this museum, and they were accumulating things from this particular military outfit. But that person seeing that listing, even though it had been there for, like I said, I'm sure it was at least a couple of years before they saw it, and offered me not the $200 I was asking, but 125 or 130. I think it was 130, and I accepted that on the spot. So you should never be afraid. You see something you're interested on eBay, if they allow offers, even if you think it might be a lowball offer, make the offer. I mean, don't try to insult somebody. Don't be sending them lowball offers all day. But if you really want an item, send them an offer for what you think it's worth. This is kind of how this went when I fueled this up in that last video I made for it. Had no problem with the stand-up flame, but the jet wasn't wanting to activate. So I'll add another drop here in just a second once that top cools down. Catch up over here on the chat. Azrael says, we don't use eBay, not Amazon either. Customs here tax you even for something that costs $5. Back in primary school, I messed up with the ring version of that toy gun cap by putting pressure on one of the caps with a stick. Let's just say I learned my lesson. Yeah, I can still remember the smell of the caps. And that's definitely an interesting way to spark, because I think if you, I'd be interested to find out what would happen if you were to accidentally get that roll of caps wet with petrol fuel. Would it be okay once it dried? Definitely don't think it would spark when it was wet. So the lighter's really heating up, but we're not getting any action off that jet flame. Yeah, I never had any problems though by trying to set one off other than how it was supposed to be. You know, basically in the toy pistol. That's the way I remember them. Yeah, we used to do a lot of, I didn't experiment with a lot of caps or things when I was a kid, but firecrackers, you know, we lived out in the country. So we definitely blew a lot of stuff up with firecrackers. Experimented with firecrackers. Why is that so? There you go. That wadding was stuck between the case and the insert. We'll see. It's probably gone now from not being quite full enough to being over full and suffering from vapor lock, but we'll see. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I don't know how long. I haven't gotten a message here on my phone yet, so I don't think the phone's about to run out of juice just yet. But in case we were, I want you to know I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, bottle rockets. I remember bottle rockets down at Lake Eufaula when I was adolescent, preteen, shortly before they outlawed that stuff around here. But yeah, those bottle rockets in bottles, man, that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. There we go. Glad you joined us, Terry. Hope things are going well with you. Hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas. We'll let that calm down and try it again here in a minute. This aluminum block utility lighter that we're sending to a friend. It's still fueled up after well over a week, about 10 days I think, and there's no seals at all on this thing. Just aluminum on aluminum. Thank you for joining us, Eastwa. Look forward to seeing your videos in all those various platforms. And seriously, we were talking about it earlier, guys, but Facebook lighter groups are an invaluable resource if you're interested in old lighters. You got the DependableFlame.com group, which I run, and you're free to post trades over there, things like that. Like I said, I don't have problem with people buying and selling over there as long as you're not just showing up looking like a scammer. Make yourself useful. Hang around a little bit before you start posting to sell. Your 50th birthday on Sunday. All right, so you're a little bit younger than me, man. I'm 50, well, I guess I'm 53. I'll be turning 54 this next year in April. Take it easy, Azrael. Get some sleep. Enjoy your day in the morning. Yeah, I guess that's right. We're exactly 12-hour different. But the Facebook lighter groups, obviously you can go over. I mentioned TikTok and Eastwall posting his videos over there, and Instagram and all that. But the Facebook lighter groups are an excellent place. If you got questions, if you just like seeing lighter content, it's a great place too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely old, any way you put it around it. Maybe not old. It's getting older for sure, and it's interesting getting old or getting older. It's interesting to find yourself getting injured in ways that you can't really explain how it happened, or can't really fathom how you got hurt doing something so simple. But I will say this, I've enjoyed it. It's what's the line from the John Denver song, says it turns me on to think of growing old. That's kind of what 50 made me feel like. So let me get a few of these things out of the way. If anybody's got any lighters that they can remember from a video that they would like for me to get listed, I'd be glad to hear those as well. shown you a few here that I'm definitely not going to sell. A few others that I would sell for the right price. You know, others like this one are lighters I'm just having more fun tinkering and playing around with right now. I think we're definitely vapor locked now. It's not a bad pipe light. You definitely suck that down in your pipe. So yeah, I could sell that one. Definitely won't be selling this one. Got these others that I'm going to be sending. Let me see what else I might have. There's one that I just recently listed. It's a cool lighter. Berkeley, 1940s. Made by Berkeley, but it is, I don't believe it is marked Berkeley. It's not marked Berkeley. The box was marked Consolidated Razor Company. It was sold in a box with razor blades, which were no longer present in the box. Here's another one that I haven't even taken pictures of yet to list, but I am going to. This one is marked D and Company, number 801. Or 80, yeah, I think it's 801. That one I will be selling eventually. Got a few odds and ends sliders here. But I still got plenty others that you might have seen in a video. Here's a brand new Zippo that will come in a box. It's original box, paperwork and all that for Rainier Pacific. Hello, Mark. Glad to have you join us this morning. I think it's still morning. I can't remember whether I listed this one yet, but I have already taken the pictures. So this one I'm going to list, and it will come with an old Things Remembered, what do you call it, gift box. Doesn't have the fuel canister, but it has the place for the fuel canister and a Zippo flint. And the reason I hadn't listed this one yet is I wasn't certain what you call this. Maybe if Terry's still here with us, maybe he'll. It looks like those anodized aluminum plates, and even those I'm not sure exactly what you call that model, but I'm not sure if that's what this is, because part of it is the color and the other is just like it's chrome plated. So if any of you know what model this lighter is or what you call this design, I'd appreciate it so that I can list it accurately. But that's one that will definitely be listed. Really cool. I've loved having it in my collection. I just can't justify it anymore. A brand new Tri-Light Craftsman pipe lighter. Cleared the flint tube. You've seen videos for that. Yeah, I don't know, Mark. Like I said, I got it in my head that it was anodized aluminum, but then I noticed that the others that I could see online that were anodized aluminum plates, I believe the whole plate was that solid color. Like you can see blue ones and red ones. I couldn't even find black ones. So, I don't know. I guess I can list them without that, without knowing exactly what the design or model is, but it's an interesting lighter. Is this the well, maybe it's unbranded, but it's got a funky flint system here that the flint just rides underneath there. Doesn't fit like it normally does, so you're striking the side of the flint. That one will get listed also. An old Park advertising the Fraternal Order of Eagles. It's Crest Craft, made by Park, with the enameled emblem of the state of Oklahoma. Another one that I've been glad to have in my personal collection. It's just only got room for so many lighters around here. Yeah, I don't know. You've heard me say it a million times, Mark. I'm not a metals expert. And this lighter feels heavy. That's another reason that I wonder about, that being aluminum. So I don't know what you call that. But obviously to get the black, I don't know. I don't know how you would how would you get that black finish on there if it wasn't aluminum? So, again, I'm no expert on Zippos at all, especially all the different designs. And got some other lighters here that I need to list for charity auctions. I've still got some stuff that our buddy Robert Hollingsworth sent that I need to list and sell in charity auctions. A bunch of the ashtrays and stuff that Gavin Lannon sent. This is a lighter that our buddy Friedrich Dill sent in a group of other lighters that we repaired, dug out the old flint, and it works great. So that's what we're going to do with this. So I need to do some of the 100% to charity for the Huntington's Disease Society of America. Do some of those charity auctions. Maybe I can get that done this week. Like I said, I've been really busy with a couple of my grandkids and with trying to get the brakes done on the car the last couple weeks. But hopefully I can get, I did list a few lighters just about 3 weeks ago and sold a couple of them almost immediately. So we'll do what we can about getting some of these listed and hopefully get a good number of them sold. Trying to remember now. Does anybody know what that PPG stands for? I need to take, I've got this and another lighter. It's got that same logo on it. And there is a guy online, one of my lighter friends that I've made online. His name is Ivan Sorensen, I believe is how you pronounce it. And he posted a picture of a lighter the other day, and there was a box underneath it that had that logo on it. Which brought it to my memory. The other example, this is the one I've had the longest, and at some point I put that in there just to, I don't know if it, yeah, see, it'll at least, or it would. That spring, or that screw doesn't really fit, doesn't thread in like you want it to. Anyway, that's one I've had the longest, and the newer one, or the one I've just gotten here in the last few months, or it was more like probably 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months ago, something like that, last spring, had more of the paint on it. It was a little bit different lighter, so I need to get those out, but I don't know what that Pritchard paint and glass, yeah, well, yeah, and who knows, maybe that box I saw on his Facebook post, maybe that was just a similar. It looked like a pack of cigarettes. I was thinking it was a pack of cigarettes that he had under the lighter. Anyway. Try to get these all, like I said, I've got a few, one of those is already listed. That other one definitely had pictures taken, but I still need to take pictures of a lot of these. So. And got to get the Christmas tree up. You guys got your Christmas trees up yet? So definitely some vapor lock. Takes it a few times to strike up, and a healthy jet flame. And if we hadn't filled it to that level, then we wouldn't have gotten that jet flame at all, because you saw it up until I added that last drop, we weren't getting any bite at all off that jet flame. This isn't the strongest jet flame you've ever seen. And I don't know exactly how the engineering or mechanics on that would work. I don't know about that tube being blocked down there and how it creates a vacuum. These aren't things that actually make sense in my mind. These are things that I just know. But for whatever reason, when you light it, at a certain point, it's like the pressure just won't build back up. So you really need to let the lighter cool, maybe even. But at the very least, kill it, relight it, and then get your pipe flame again. Going to go ahead and package this one up. That'll fit down in there real nice. Go grab some tape. I don't know if you guys can hear the leaf wranglers outside, but it is a constant annoyance. If it wasn't the leaf wranglers, it would be a lift trying to clean off balconies or something, or there's always something trying to fix something around here. I never imagined how much that kind of noise would be going on living in an urban setting. So these are my current business card, which I include when you buy a lighter, or in this case giving one away. Then I'll leave a note there, which I'll include in the package. For the other lighter that we are giving away, it will get packaged. It's a little bit different with the, can't fit that utility lighter in our normal packaging. This other one goes inside a Ziploc. Which then goes inside the bubble wrap. Piece of tape. Seal that up. And we will slide that into another bubble sleeve. I'm sure you guys can hear that now. Leaf blowers out there doing the important work of cleaning up the neighborhood, or at least blowing their problem over onto somebody else. So now that we got that double bubbled, Ziploc inside, get a Ziploc outside. And then I include 2 cards, one on the back, and then the one that I will write the note to our friend who I am giving that lighter to. So, for you guys that I have contacted about the utility lighter and the Weigler Brothers Life Lighter, I will plan on mailing those this week. Probably will not do it today, as our typical Thursday dinner with the in-laws and grandkids has gotten moved to Tuesday, so yeah, you can. It's very annoying, the leaf blowers, but I appreciate you guys joining us today. I'll try not to make it 6 months before we do another one, and I'll try to do one again. I can't make any promises, but maybe we can do it every other Tuesday. I appreciate all of you joining us. Our new friends as well. We had several new people, including Alice, Lee, and Coffee Junkie, Go Go Go. We had several old friends as well, though. With we also had Vijami Siponen, but we had the Professor, we had DependableFlame, we had Olarp Henningsen, we had Azrael, we had Nafa. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody here. But I appreciate the conversation. I enjoy it. You guys, again, make sure you get over, follow East Wadoon Flom. He's really a master at putting together videos. There's a lot of information, a lot of cool ways that he presents those lighters and the music that he does them with. Terry, Zippo Lions Den, Mark Burris, you guys as well. If I've forgotten anybody, I'm sorry. But glad to talk with all of you, and hope to see you again soon. Man, sounds like they're right outside the window now. Wow, definitely some vapor lock. Good jet flame too, though. Until next time.